World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
It's just so dangerous. You are risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and wherever you are watching in the world, welcome along to World Pro Racing. Whether you're watching from YouTube, from Twitch, on Facebook, ESTV, Motorsport TV, or TVM Sport, it's great to have you along with us for the Rainmaster version 2. This time we're going to Laguna Seca, which of course means Spanish for dry lagoon, but if you've got a clue from the title just then, it's going to be anything but that. Great to have you along here for this event. Luke Whitehead, meanwhile, is the defending Rain Master. He got a convincing 12-second gap over the 40-minute race last time out when we headed to Barcelona. And that time, he was able to be a little bit more comfortable. He didn't get pole position, but his race pace in the end got him to the checkered flag. Dan Guinchard was the one who did have the pole position last time out. He fell back to second place. He'll be wanting to go one better this time around. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich finished 0.8 of a second ahead of one Ashton Cox, but he was around about 25 seconds behind the race leader in the end, still held on for a podium place. And with his good performance at the British GT Triple Challenge here on World Pro Racing over the weekend, he'll be looking to try and bring forward that form in towards this race tonight. And of course, he'll probably be reunited with his trusty Lexus. So we'll have to wait and see how he gets on with that one. In terms of the race format tonight, well, we've got 15 minutes of practice, 50 minutes of qualifying with a 40-minute race coming up. One mandatory pit stop in a 10-minute pit stop window. Refueling is mandatory. So the drivers will have to decide when abouts they want to pit in during that race. And of course, it gives us plenty of time to review the track conditions, which, if you haven't guessed already from the name Rainmaster, it's looking to be pretty wet out here. Now, at Laguna Seca, on an average March month, you're expecting around 2 inches worth of rain, or about 42 millimetres. That's throughout an entire month. Here, I think we're getting about 2 inches a minute at this rate. The track is absolutely flooded. There you can see track temperature is 19 degrees with an air temperature of 16 degrees, and it is 40 minutes of relentless torrential rain. The drivers will have to be putting in all of those lap times and all of that ability just to make sure they don't spin these cars up. One in particular corner that might catch some drivers out is the corkscrew. And of course, Laguna Seca has that world famous corkscrew section. It is, well, the equivalent of dropping 59 feet just through over the crest of the corner going down the hill. You drop around 5.5 stories, as they say in America. That's equivalent to around that 59 feet. And have a look on board with Dan Guinchard. This is pretty much what they can see if you're following someone in the spray. I mean, this is just treacherous conditions here, but you know, we've got drivers here that are loving these conditions. Look how much that car is squirming under braking as Dan Guinchard then made his way in towards the Andretti hairpin. Onwards they go now towards turn 3, and then just through this right-hander you can see how much he's trying to fight that wheel just to keep a little bit of control in the car. Dan Guinchard, of course, in the last Rainmaster showed some really good pace over one lap. Couldn't quite string it together in the race though. However, he'll be looking to try and bounce back today as he now makes his way onwards towards turn 5. And of course, braking here, you see that Mercedes a bit twitchy under braking. You can see just where that standing water is out on track as we ascend up towards turn 6 here. It then goes sort of downhill on entry here. Try and find the apex. Really does invite the understeer on the exit of the corner, and just like that, Dan Guinchard decides not to finish this lap up here in this practice session. So Luke Whitehead, of course, did win the first event at the Rainmaster. There you can see Marcus Littlewood third fastest in this practice session so far, within half a second of Dan Guinchard. Luke Whitehead is in second place at the moment, just 0.3 off Dan Guinchard just there. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich, who was third place in the last Rainmaster, finds himself 1.3 seconds back from Dan Guinchard, but it's Dombré in fourth place. That's Peter Dombré in the treble 8 Ferrari, currently in the pit lane. JP Sleater there is in 6th place in the number 16 Ferrari. Vishal Patel in 7th place. Cornelius Yasilis in 8th place there. Reina Rissart in 9th, with Silver Pierbits at the moment, rounding out the top 10. Tom McEwing here has had some decent form in recent times. He's quite new to Assetto Corsa Competizione. However, he showed some good pace and some good race pace, in fact, when he came up to the British GT Triple Challenge that happened just over this weekend. And there he is there in the McEwing Motorsport McLaren, the number 89 lime green car. He now makes his way on towards the start-finish line. Watch out for him in the later stages of this race. We've seen him in the completely dry conditions at the Triple Challenge, and he seemed to have some decent race pace. Expect to see him trying to get into that midfield. All about consistency and all really about trying to make sure that you make the fewest mistakes possible around this track. That's going to be the key to your success here. And if this sort of racing is up your street, then why not find out more racing on worldproracing.com. We've got weekly casual events, special races and championships on PC and PS4. And when I say varied championships, I really do mean a varied championship. Tomorrow we have, I believe, the USF 2000 series starting tomorrow with your commentary team of Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Buxton taking you through those rounds there. And we also have karting at Genk this coming Friday. Yeah, karting. Whether it's open wheel, if it's tin tops, or if it's karting, there might be something for you out there. So worldproracing.com to find out your next race. There's Kirsten Ebeya in the Lexus there. That's the GT Omega RPM Esports Lexus, now making his way onwards towards turn 3 as he's just exited the Andretti hairpin. And you can just about see how much this rain is falling. You can see top right hand corner, the track is flooded. So there's standing water in places, and standing water does mean even the extreme wet tyres may not be enough to make sure you keep this car on the track. There's still a chance of aquaplaning, where the car just cannot grip onto the rubber below. All it finds is water and you just go skating off. So the drivers will be working hard here to try and find that good mix of raw pace and stable enough in these wet conditions. We're heading down the Rahal Straight and making our way in towards the corkscrew, descending down that 59 feet then. And as you make your way now towards turn 9, you've descended a total of about 109 feet all the way through that section. Onwards then towards turn 10, and the Bayer gets slightly onto the curbs there, trying to not spin up those rear tyres too much. Through turn 10 we go, and onwards then towards the slow turn 11. As you can see there, a bit of opposite lock from Abaya, and he abandons that one. Just a little bit of opposite lock prevented him from really getting the biting point in that car to turn in, and found himself quickly into the gravel. Tom McEwing then riding aboard with the British driver, making his way through. You can see how twitchy the McLaren is just on the acceleration there, as he now makes his way up the hill towards turn 6 again. As you're braking, goes downhill for the apex, promotes that understeer, but as long as you keep the car under control, as we now go down the Rahal Straight, or I should say go up the Rahal Straight now in towards turn 8 there. And you cannot see the apex here. Oh, there you go. Snap of oversteer from Tom McEwing there, as he finds himself now into the gravel. Yeah, when you're riding on board there, from the driver's point of view, you cannot see the apex. You've got to memorise where it is, and then as you go over the crest, you've got to hope that you've guessed absolutely spot on. There's Jan-Nicolas Erbrick in the 299 LL Racing Lexus. Name a greater love story than Jan-Nicolas in a Lexus. I challenge you to find one. He's now making his way towards the line. And is this going to be an improvement on his previous time? As he crosses the line now. It's not going to be, but this is when sort of race simulation comes into play, just making sure you iron out those mistakes. Vishal Patel in the PC Boys Racing Mercedes, making his way now through turn 4 in the number 95 car. 7th place so far, within 3 seconds of Marcus Littlewood, who has gone fastest in this practice session. Tackling once again through turn 5. A little bit of banking through turn 5 to try and help you carry the speed through, but carrying the speed through on a wet track like this is never easy. Going through turn 5, and then we go, through turn 6 that is. Now we're going down the Rahal Straight. Slight kink of 7 before you have to start thinking about the braking zone in towards the corkscrew here. Guess where the apex is? Hope you're right. Through turn 8. And then we head our way through this long left-hander of turn 9. And then onwards towards turn 10s and 11. to round off the lap here. And yeah, the track was first opened in November 9th, 1957. But weirdly enough, the corkscrew has stayed pretty much the same all throughout. It used to be more reminiscent of an oval, did Laguna Seca, as Vishal Patel crosses the line there. 37.5 is his last lap time there, just 4/10 slower than his own personal best. Tom McEwing then, having recovered from his moment at the corkscrew, about 2 minutes ago, he makes his way now in towards the final couple of corners. But there you can see Marcus Littlewood purple through all three sectors with that 134.2. Ginchard just within 4/10 of a second. Luke Whitehead in third. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich in fourth place, with JP Sleater rounding off the top five. And of course, this is practice so far, so take all of those times with a pinch of salt. This is really a time when the drivers will try and knuckle down and make sure that the car is exactly the way they want it. This is their real last chance to get not only a race setup, but a qualifying setup as well. But the track then takes us for a 3.6 kilometre long tour of the hillsides in the Salinas County on the Monterey Peninsula. 11 turns taking us around the track, which overall has a 180 feet elevation change throughout the lap. And of course, as we've already mentioned, the corkscrew. Kart fans of 1996 will quickly remind you of the final lap of the final race of the season, when Alex Zanardi sealed that really audacious move on Brian Herter in towards the corkscrew there, using the, well, very much the inside of the second part of the corkscrew there to make the move done. But it was enough for him to take his third win of the season, and from the 1996 season, Alex Zanardi would go on to win Rookie of the Year. Abaya now making his way in through turn 10 and onwards then towards turn 11. Just trying to find the best line you can out there. More importantly, the best line that won't put you off the track at any point. Abaya now makes his way on towards the start-finish line. Currently 12th in this practice session so far. Can he move himself up the order? His last lap time, though, half a second off his best. So he stays in 12th place for now, but this is when drivers will be really focusing on fine-tuning that race setup. Luke Whitehead then makes his way through turn 9 in the Achetois racing car. Normally you see about 2, 3, 4 Achetois racing cars in each race here at World Pro Racing. Today I think it's just Luke Whitehead out here. So he's looking to try and defend his crown as he now makes his way through the final corner and onwards then towards the start-finish line. And can he get himself up the order even more? No, it is 35.2. So we are looking at these late race sims, but less than 60 seconds to go then in this practice session. There's Rainer Rassar in the Pangzilla Racing bright pink Nissan, making his way through in towards the final corner. And then building up the speed, then going through the gears on towards the start-finish line. Crossing the line there, and 37.752 is just less than a tenth off his best, but you saw the back end step out there through turn 1. Great from the Estonian to pick up that back end. Very nice indeed. You've got to watch out for the curbs here, though. They will turn into an ice rink very, very quickly if they haven't already in these treacherous conditions. And if you're just wondering about a weather forecast, it's very easy. It's going to be like this the whole race. So that's the weather forecast done and out of the way. Still watching Rassard then as he makes his way on towards turn 5 with the windscreen wiper working overdrive. And the checker flag is now out then for this free practice session with just 4 cars remaining out on track. All 4 of them will be able to complete their lap time here. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich, though, 4th fastest in practice so far. As we just will wait and see those last 3 drivers post their lap times. They'll be in their race sim, so they won't be quicker than their best lap time so far. But it gives them a good idea of what the track is going to be like and how the tyres really develop, how they handle those conditions late on in the race. Tyre wear here is going to be really, really important. It's not mandatory to change your tyres at the pit stop. It is mandatory to make sure you refuel. That will be for the race, though. We've got 15 minutes of qualifying coming up very, very shortly to take you through there to see who will get the best starting position on this Rainmaster 2 at Laguna Seca. So if you did miss Barcelona, well, Luke Whitehead did qualify in second place. However, he did then build up that 12-second gap over the 40 minutes to take the win at the first Rainmaster event. Dan Guinchard, though, will be looking for a little bit of revenge here. He knows he's got the race pace. He knows he's got the one-lap pace. It's converting it over the 40 minutes that counts here, and he'll be looking to try and take that win and that crown back from Luke Whitehead. Marcus Littlewood as well, showing some good pace in that qualifying session, more than 0.3 of a second faster than anybody else out on track. He's looking to try and knuckle this down. He's looking to try and take advantage of that pace to give himself the best possible chance of winning that second Rainmaster crown. How about Jan-Nicolas Erbrich, though? He's in some good form. He's back in a Lexus, where he wants to be. So maybe this time he could try and push on for a higher position than third place, which was a good result for him last time out. No Ashton Cox tonight, unfortunately, to challenge him for that third place like he did at Barcelona last time out. But I'm sure Jan-Nicolas Erbrich has got other things on his mind. He was fourth fastest in that practice session, 1.6 seconds off the leader at that time. However, you know, it is a practice session. You have to take those times with a pinch of salt. As we now see cars emerging from the pit lane, pretty much all of them emerging from the pit lane. As we see the number 1 car at the front of the field, so that is Marcus Littlewood, who is the first car out there to take to the track in these very, very treacherous conditions. And there is Marcus Littlewood then, that yellow and black, almost reminiscent there. We now make our way over the crest here in towards turn 6. Downhill on entry. And then we go uphill again, up the Rahal straight. As we then sprint through the slight kink of 7 and then in towards the corkscrew. Descending 59 feet there through the corkscrew on towards turn 9. A little bit of a twitchy back end there for Marcus Littlewood. Heading through turn 9. Still descending as we make our way down towards turn 10. And the track starts to level off as we make our way down towards turn 11. Braking hard here, setting up this lap time, and drivers all around the circuit here will be trying to find their own space out there. Let's ride on board then with Marcus Littlewood for this lap. He's opting not to have his windscreen wipers on as he makes his way over the crest, then over through turn 1, and then heading our way down through the Andretti hairpin, then just picking up that 400-metre brake marker, then turning in. Making sure you pick up that apex then on the Andretti hairpin. Finding your marker then for turn 3. It's there somewhere, the apex. You just got to try and find it. You just can see how much he's trying to fight that Ferrari then. Get the grip there. Through turn 4 we go. And again, bit of opposite lock on entry. Bit of aquaplaning as well if you're not careful. And then we make our way towards turn 5. And this is where we start to ascend the hills here. Just making sure you carry just enough speed through so you can get the apex. Corner exit here is so important. Going through turn 6. Watch out for the understeer through here. Now up the Rahal straight. Going through turn 7. And then in towards the corkscrew here. Just at the best of times. Trying to find your apex point here. Descending 5.5 stories. Then through turn 9. Oh, that back end's going there. He's just about saved that, but he found himself onto the gravel. And I don't know if he's going to complete that lap. I don't think he will. Luke Whitehead is out there right now in the 202 Ashtoir racing car. And it doesn't look like he's on a flying lap either. He was very cautious up towards the corkscrew there. There's someone who is using the windscreen wipers, thankfully. Making his way now on towards turn 10. You can see that little bit of banking there. Works with you in the dry, but when it's wet, of course, all that banking, all the water then gathers at the part where the banking obviously levels off at its lowest point. So when you come to it, you've got to be careful not to aquaplane in those certain places. Dan Guinchard sets the fastest lap of the qualifying session so far with a 1:35.997. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich then 4/10 off. Silver Pyramids in third place. Then Luke Whitehead setting a time of a 42.3, but that's not representative. As we saw, he was very much coasting up towards the corkscrew there. Tiptoeing is a good word to use for this one. Through turn 3, then onwards towards the right-hander of turn 4. You can see that just from the outside, you can see how much he's trying to fight that Ferrari there. Onwards then towards turn 5. Making sure that the car gives you that enough, it gives you that grip. You have to be very much confident in the car when you're making your way through, especially through turn 6, using a lot of the curb on the exit there. Up the Rahal straight, and then on towards turn 7, then quickly onto the brakes through the corkscrew. Through turn 9 we will go, still descending. You've got to pick out your point then for turn 10. Making your way through then on towards turn 11, the final corner, and let's see if this is going to be a good lap from Whitehead there. Marcus Littlewood has actually gone quickest then with a 1:34.4. Dan Gidshar 2/10 off the pace so far. Luke Whitehead finds himself 4/10 off the leader, but he's now onto the second row of the grid. See there Peter Dombre from Belgium in the treble 8 SRG Ferrari, making his way towards the line and improves 1:36.561 to 2 seconds off the pace now, and puts himself in 5th place ahead of Tom McEwing in the McLaren. Marcus Littlewood then fastest man in this qualifying session so far with that 1:34.473, finds himself 0.228 quicker than Dan Gidshar, as that was the number 20 car, I think, having a bit of trouble with grip. That was Kirsten Ebeya for the GT Omega RPM Esports, the number 20 Lexus. Making their way now through the corkscrew. Marcus Littlewood, though, finds himself onto the gravel going through the corkscrew there, so he's obviously locked up, or the car wasn't stopping there, had to take to the gravel to, well, I was going to say make the corner, but he never made it in the end, really, did it? Through then turn 10 and then on towards turn 11, staying out. So he's obviously happy he's got enough fuel in the car. He's obviously happy he's on good tyres, and we'll go for yet another lap. Jan-Niklas Erbrick comes back into the pit lane then. Still Littlewood's time of 34.473 to beat. This is Peter Dombre making his way now through turn 9. And then he'll keep descending down the hill in towards turn 10. Cars coming across the line, including the 202 of Luke Whitehead. Get his time on the board. No improvement from him. JP Sleater, though, goes up to 4th place, 1.5 seconds behind Littlewood's time. Here comes Peter Dombre then towards the start-finish line. Is this going to be an improvement for the Ferrari driver as he makes his way across the line? It is going to be an improvement. 35.658. That puts him now onto the second row of the grid. 1.1 seconds off Littlewood's time. So you can see Dombre is getting more and more confident in these conditions. So in theory, the more laps he does, the quicker he's going to get in this session. There's Jorge Afonseca for the JPA Sim Racing Mercedes in the number 315 car. The Portuguese man is now making his way up the hill through turn 6. 12th fastest for now, but of course that's 8.2 seconds off the pace, so that is a non-representative lap time. He's obviously just put a lap down on the board just so he has a time on the board. You never know. A banker lap they call it. Through the corkscrew we go. And then onwards then towards turn 9. You've got Rissar, Patel and Ebeya yet to set a lap time in this session. And having a look at the map there, it's only Ebeya in the pits, as we see Rissar has now set a lap time, just as I say that, in the 690 Nissan. 3.5 seconds off Littlewood's time. It puts him into 12th place. Here comes Afonseca around the final corner and onwards then towards the start-finish line. Now, where will this put him on the grid provisionally? Towards the line he will go. 41.1 puts him still into 13th place, but he is improving. JB Sleater in the PC Boys Esports Ferrari, the number 16 car, the Irishman, making his way now down in towards the Andretti hairpin. 1.4 seconds off Littlewood's time. It is an improvement from JP Slater. Christopher Legreston in the FC Corsa Ferrari, making his way through turn 10 onwards towards turn 11 in the AF Corsa Ferrari. Through the final corner there. waiting to put the power down. He's also got a Mercedes behind him. I think that's Yacianis. It is Yacianis right behind. And Agreston crosses the line then and doesn't improve on that last lap time. Stays in 10th place. Yacianis 37.5 is an improvement. It closes him within, what's that? Just over 1/100th of a second to 10th place. So not far away at all. Dan Guinchard then making his way through turn 9 and then onwards towards turn 10. Pole sitter at the Barcelona Rainmaster. What can he do with this one as he makes his way through the final corner? 5 minutes of qualifying to go. It is Marcus Littlewood who has provisional pole position. Dan Guinchard is making his way towards the line. Is this going to be an improvement? Can he grab provisional pole position? No, he can't. And just by 3/100ths of a second stays in second place. Luke Whitehead is in third place right now. He started a new flying lap. Jan-Niklas Erbrich is making his way through the final couple of corners as he makes his way through turn 10. Trying to find the grip out there. Pushing hard now in the LL Racing 299 Lexus. Now building up the speed then towards that start-finish line. Can he get an improvement on the board? Currently in 6th place in qualifying. Now brings himself up to the second row of the grid. Just over 1 second off the provisional pole time. 35.478 puts him into 4th place. More cars coming towards the line. We've got Yacianis, who now goes up to 7th place. Just within that 2-second window, puts himself now onto the 4th row of the grid with that last lap time. Rainer Rissar, the man from Estonia, making his way now on through turn 10 in the Pangzilla bright pink 690 Nissan. Through in towards the final corner now. Slowing it right down. Trying to find the apex. And build the power. Onwards towards the start-finish line he will go. Can he get an improvement on the board? Currently 12th fastest. 3.5 seconds off the lead. And it is an improvement, but it was an invalid lap. It would have been a lap that kept him, though, in 12th place. Luke Whitehead makes his way towards the line. Currently 0.399 off provisional pole. He crosses the line. He's now within 0.3 of a second. It's 0.207 as he drops the back end there, going through turn 1. Coleman Corkery then, the IRE Racing. Bentley making his way now towards the line. Currently 8th fastest in this qualifying session. Goes up to 7th fastest. 1.6 seconds then off the leader. 36.1 puts him now on the higher place of the 4th row of the grid. So with 2.5 minutes really to go in this session, Marcus Littlewood is still your provisional pole sitter. It's Dan Guinchard in 2nd place. Luke Whitehead did go back to the pit lane. He's now making his way back out onto track. And he's got just enough time to do one more lap once he gets up and running. There's Coleman Corkery. There's Silver Pyramids then. The Estonian in the Ninko Racing Lexus. The number 23 car making his way now up the Rahal Straight. Through in towards turn 7. And then down the corkscrew he will descend. And of course, as we've alluded to earlier, you cannot see the apex there. The back end being thrown out there of the Ninko Racing Nissan. Oh, sorry, the Ninko Racing Lexus, I should say. We now make our way in towards turn 10. Right in the curbs there. Was that slightly into the gravel? That sounded very much like gravel there on the exit of turn 10. Making our way through turn 11. Onwards then towards the start-finish line. So is this going to be an improvement for Pyramids as he makes his way on towards the line? And it's not going to be an improvement as he now makes his way down the hill then to start another lap. Dan Guinchard then has got a lot of spray ahead of him as he now makes his way through in towards turn 9. He's trying to find the level of grip out there. It's already difficult enough when you're on your own out there. When you've got someone kicking up some spray ahead of you, it makes it even harder. That's actually Marcus Littlewood right ahead. So both of these drivers are going to be on a flying lap here, and both of these drivers battling for pole position. Both of them are pretty much going to be sharing the exact same piece of track then. Could be a one-lap shootout between the two of them as they make their way across the line. And Dangenshard, for now, sets a time for Littlewood to respond to, 34.404. And Dangenshard now puts himself on provisional pole position in the PC Boys Mercedes. Now Marcus Littlewood here has a battle on his hands. The thing about it now is if Dangenshard gets a little bit too close to Marcus Littlewood, of course Littlewood doesn't have to dive out of the way. He's perfectly entitled to take a flying lap here, as he now makes his way through in towards turn 4. So you would think that Dangenshard couldn't improve in this time a lot more, because he's got Littlewood right ahead of him. Through in towards turn 5 we go, and up the hill. Oh, getting a little bit onto the gravel there. That could cost him over the course of the lap, as he now makes his way up in towards turn 6. Oh, and he gets it wrong completely. Dangenshard follows him through there. Both of them will not be able to finish their lap time there. So the top two will stay as they are right now. That leaves the door open for Luke Whitehead, who's just making his way through turn 9. Here's Kirsten Abeya coming across the line, 13th fastest for now, and improves to 12th fastest with that 1:37.689. Now onto the 6th row of the grid. Seca abandons his lap time then, and will stay 14th fastest. Vishal Patel already in the pits, so Seca has 14th place guaranteed. Jan-Nicholas Erbrich then on a lap time then, so Luke Whitehead comes into the pits, so too does Jan-Nicholas Erbrich then. So Dangenshard will get back-to-back pole positions in the Rainmaster, and both of them coming off the track at turn 6 there might have been a silver lining there for Dangenshard. No doubt about it though, he's got back-to-back pole positions in the Rainmaster. Marcus Littlewood will be lining up alongside him on the front row of the grid. It leaves then Luke Whitehead in 3rd place with Jan-Nicholas Erbrich in 4th. So that's your top 4 going into the Rainmaster here tonight at Laguna Seca. So 40 minutes await these drivers. 1 mandatory pit stop. Refueling is a must. It is mandatory in your stop. Tyre change is not. However, in these wet weather conditions, it's entirely up to the drivers whether they really want to change tyres or not. Having a look at some of the long runs in practice, the tyre wear looks okay, but that's only over 15 minutes we saw. So drivers will have been testing extensively and seeing how much these wet weather tyres will last, whether they last over the 40 minutes. 40 minutes is more of an endurance, so they should be able to make it to the end with no problems. The only problem will be towards the end of the 40 minutes. They might seem a little bit past their sell-by date by that point, so it's just being careful about the overall grip and making sure you don't put that loud pedal down too much going into, or exiting I should say, the final corner. So can Luke Whitehead hold on to his crown here as Rainmaster that he picked up at Barcelona? Well, Dangenshard has laid a marker down. He's not willing to give this up without a fight. Not this time anyway. Plus you've got, of course, the new Ferrari driver in the mix then, Marcus Littlewood, looking to try and cause a little bit of an upset between the two drivers. And never ever rule out Jan-Nicholas Erbrich. He's a winner here at World Pro Racing, and he's always capable of putting in those lap times, always capable of sneaking a win when you least expect it. We'll be going on to track very, very shortly to take you through the next 40 minutes of action to see who will become the World Pro Racing Rainmaster 2 and who will be able to be crowned that champion once again. Will Luke Whitehead retain his title, or will someone else come along to rain on his parade? So Dangenshard then starting on pole position. Marcus Littlewood in 2nd place, Whitehead in 3rd, Erbrich in 4th, Dombre in 5th place with Sleater in 6th, Corkery in 7th place, and the only Aston Martin in the field. You're seeing us in 8th place, McEwing in 9th, and Pyramid's rounding off the top 10. It's Legreston in 11th, Abeya in 12th, Rissar 13th, Afonseca in 14th place, and Patel rounds off the top 15. So it's a long way to the start-finish line here. It's a long way for these drivers to get into formation and make sure that they can put the best foot forward. You can see there, that is Dangenshard trying to get temperature in the tyres as much as possible. Through then towards turn 10 and then onwards towards turn 11. Let us know who the flags are flying for tonight then, as Dangenshard will lead the pack then towards the start-finish line. Seems like an age for the drivers then. Lots of flashing lights here as they are just waiting to get this one underway. They're itching to go racing here at Laguna Seca. The drivers will take formation then as they make their way towards the start-finish line. Dan Ginchard on the left, Marcus Littlewood on the right. The green flag will drop any moment now. Green flag, and we are racing. Dan Ginchard then will try and get the jump. He does get a jump. Fantastic start from Ginchard then. There is, I think that's Luke Whitehead trying to go down the inside, and there's contact already. Marcus Littlewood is around in towards the gravel, and there's no stopping that car once it goes into a spin. Marcus Littlewood all the way down the order then. He'll have to recover from the very, very back of this grid then. Silver Pyramids then trying to go round the outside as we make our way through in towards turn 3. Dan Ginchard though holds on to the lead of this race. Luke Whitehead in second place. Erbrick is in third. Sleater has moved up into fourth place. Good start from JP Sleater, and that's Coleman Corkery finding himself into the gravel then on the exit of turn 3. It's all go here at this race then. Jorge Afonseca, the Portuguese driver, is up into 12th place already. Vishal Patel then, I believe, started from the back of this race. He's currently in 10th place. Great start from Patel as he tries to move his way up the order. We've got the 315 car of Afonseca. I've just commentators cursed him there. I said he had a great start. He's found himself spun around the wrong way round through turn 5. We're going side by side here. Going in towards turn 7, then in towards the corkscrew here as Silver Pyramids tries to hang on. And he can there. Tom McEwen then was not going to make that easy. Rejoining the lead of this race then, Dan Ginchard leads the way from Luke Whitehead in second place. Jan-Nicholas Erbrick though is in third, JP Sleater in fourth. Peter Dombre is in 5th place. Meanwhile, Tom McEwen, gets ahead of Vishal Patel as we now make our way down in towards turn 11. And then Patel has to quickly shift his focus onto Reina Rassar in the 690 Nissan, as we have now completed the first lap of what has been an eventful Rainmaster here at Laguna Seca. So JP Sleater then in 4th. Great start from the Irishman as he now tries to pick the pace up and settle into his race pace. Peter Dombre though, really good start from the Belgian here in the SRG Ferrari as he now tries to just tiptoe his way around. It's always really difficult, especially if you're riding on board. If this is your view for the whole race, I do not envy you one bit. You can barely see anything out there, especially when you're in the spray of another driver. But Dombre is not going to let that get in his way too much as he looks to just stay on the back of JP Sleater for as long as he possibly can. It's Ginchard then leading the way as we head through turn 6. And you can see Luke Whitehead just following him around at the moment as we head over the crest in towards 7 and then in towards the corkscrew then. Braking hard for this one. Luke Whitehead already right on the back of Ginchard as they both open up a 2.7 second gap to Jan-Nicholas Erbrick behind. So maybe it's a case of working together to start with and seeing how the race goes. There's Marcus Littlewood then in 10th place. He was facing the wrong way, spinning, pirouetting at turn 1. And now he is in 10th place there, looking to just try and have this as a recovery drive. He's got, well over half an hour of this race. So it's all about where can he finish from here. Tom McEwen in 8th place, trying to put Silver Pyramids under a bit of pressure through turn 11. On the power then, on board with the McEwen Motorsport McLaren, making our way through turn 1 here. And we've just got word from the stewards then, of course. Oh, that's McEwen then getting his braking all wrong, almost running into the back of Silver Pyramids then. Quick reactions there. You saw that with the spray. It's almost like that Lexus just appeared from nowhere, but McEwen does well there to react to the Lexus. And you can see there Luke Whitehead has now been given a 5-second penalty by our stewards here for an unsafe rejoin. So that's going to be added, I think, to the end of his race. So he'll just have to bear that brunt now and deal with that at the end of the race. And that would have been the Silver Pyramids then trying to defend from McEwen. But McEwen is, you can see he's not making this easy whatsoever. You can barely see anything in these conditions, but one thing you will be able to see in your mirrors is a lime green McLaren of McEwen Motorsport McLaren. We've got a car off there. That's the number 16 car of JP Sleater, who's found himself around then. That's a very odd place to go on your own there, going down the Rahal Straight. It's too late to really have any sort of oversteer out of turn 6 there. As you can see, massive amount of opposite lock going through the corkscrew there. And that is Reina Rassar, who's now trying to go round the outside at turn 9. Heading our way through now in towards turn 10. And drivers here will just be trying to get past JP Sleater. But Sleater right now is holding on. I mean, following one car in the spray looked bad enough. Following two looks even worse out there. But Sleater now, from 4th place, falls to 9th after that incident. Didn't quite see what happened. But it looks like he's back on the pace then. It's always a tricky one when you are spinning around. As that is... I think that's Corkery trying to move up the inside of Rassar then. Oh, and we've got someone off there. That's Patel in the PC Boys racing car. Just leaving his braking slightly too late then. And it's always a bit of a problem. You start braking hard, you lock a brake and you start aquaplaning. No grip whatsoever. Marcus Littlewood, meanwhile, has recovered to 8th place so far. As, well, we can barely see anything on board. So... doesn't help us a lot there, but what we can see is McEwing here, from this angle at least, is right in his sights as we head now up the hill towards turn 6. Not many overtaking opportunities at Laguna Seca here. It's a very narrow track, but there is plenty of opportunities if you run wide at turn 6 like McEwing did. And it's almost like Marcus Littlewood followed him exactly there, going in towards the corkscrew. Again, not a conventional overtaking place, but if you can get your exit right here, you can certainly go side by side through turn 9. There goes Littlewood up the inside of McEwing, and Littlewood in the Ferrari gets the position and now moves up into 7th place. Nice driving there from Littlewood, did everything right there, made McEwing do all the work, and he's now up into 7th place. We've also got a 5-second penalty there for the number 23 car of Silver Pyramids, and that was on the number 9 of Corkery there. So that is a 10-second penalty, to correct myself there. 10 seconds for Silver Pyramids for that incident involving himself and Corkery. That'll be added to the end of his race. So he's just got to focus now. Race, checkered flag is more than half an hour away. He's just got to keep on focused now and make the best out of that. He's got Littlewood in his mirrors though. Well, the gap for the leader has opened up quite significantly. Dan Ginchard leading the way by 3.1 seconds. He has really found a huge amount of pace, because the gap between Whitehead and Erbrick has slowly and steadily opened up. But I think it's a case of Dan Ginchard is absolutely on a mission here. He missed out at Barcelona, and I think he's making it perfectly clear he does not want to miss out here at Laguna Seca. JB Slater then, I think as that's a move through in towards 8th place, as he now makes his way through turn 6. A spinner! And that is Tom McEwing. And that is Vishal Patel, who spins in sympathy for him and whacks the rear end. We've got a Ferrari there who almost came into contact with them. That was Legreston, as the two of them now try and make their way and try and find some grip out there. So Legreston in the number 52 car, almost coming into contact with the two drivers there. McEwing falls to 13th place. Patel falls to 14th. Fonseca still in this race then. He's just climbing up the Rahal straight. But a nightmare for McEwing there. He was having a good race and just dropped the back end, it seemed, through turn 6. And just didn't have enough grip to keep the car steady. Almost a quarter of the way through this race then. As you can see there, Abea is now under extreme pressure from McEwing as they run side by side, going through turn 1. Oh, and McEwing's made contact with Abea there. And they're both off, going through turn 1. And McEwing rejoins there. Abea's spun around, left in the gravel. McEwing recovers there. He's lost a position, I think, to Patel now. Yes, it is Patel who's ahead of him. So he's now fallen to 13th place. Legreston, meanwhile, is under pressure from Silver Pyramids here. As we now make our way in towards turn 5, riding aboard with the AF Corsa Ferrari. Just so little grip out here. As we now make our way up the hill through turn 6. Braking hard for this one. We've seen plenty of drivers be caught out here. We could see another one caught out. That's Legreston running wide, and Silver Pyramids will sail on by, in these conditions especially, into 10th place, in towards the corkscrew. And that was a case of Pyramids just waiting for Legreston to make that mistake, which is a really easy mistake to make in these low grip conditions. You're seeing us there running deep in towards the final corner for the PC Boys Racing Mercedes. And he was battling away with Dombre there. As we now make our way up the order. And JP Sleater on our screens has now gone up to 6th place. There he is. He's recovered to 6th place. Remember, he was running high as 4th in this race earlier on. He's done a superb job to get back to 6th. And now he's got Marcus Littlewood ahead of him. In fact, Marcus Littlewood, I think, is having a fantastic race as well. Contact at the very start. Going in towards turn 1. Spun around into the gravel at turn 2 on lap 1. And now has recovered all the way to 15th place. And looking at the table there, he's looking around about 20 seconds back. Possibly around 18, 19 seconds back if you add all the tenths of a second together. So it's not the end of the world for Littlewood, but he'll find it hard to get a win from this position. And there you can see though, last lap 36.1. That's only 3/10 off his best so far, so he's pretty consistent out there in these conditions. Meanwhile though, Luke Whitehead has fallen to 4th place. He's had a little bit of a moment somewhere because he was well clear of Jan-Nicolas Erbrich. And Peter Dombre has found a way past as well. So we now head our way in towards turn 10. In towards turn 11. Luke Whitehead here. Will he try and move down in towards turn 11? He will, you know. Dombre leaves him the space. Maybe a little bit too much space there. But Luke Whitehead will find his way through and back up into the podium positions. Over the crest he will go. So Dombre then in 4th place. As we now head our way into the braking zone, in towards turn 2, the Andretti hairpin. You can see a couple of different lines being taken there. Dombre running deep initially. But I think that's so that he can try and take advantage of a better exit in these conditions. Littlewood then 5th place, 2.6 seconds behind Dombre right now. He can just about see them in these conditions. So he's closing in for a battle for 4th place at the moment. Now make our way on board then with Dan Ginshar, who is 8.7 seconds clear of Jan-Nicolas Erbrich. Making our way now in towards the corkscrew. Let's ride on board with him for a bit then. As we make our way through turn 9. Doesn't really matter how hard he battles that wheel there. What matters is he's getting so much pace out of that car. 9.3 seconds clear of Jan-Nicolas Erbrich. He was well and truly building that gap to Luke Whitehead. As he now makes his way down in towards the final corner. And this is a confident drive. This is a driver who's got complete faith in his setup, complete faith in himself, and complete faith in the car to grip into these conditions. He knows exactly what it's going to do. This is a confident drive. Down in towards turn 1 we go. Oh, sorry, turn 2 I should say, the Andretti hairpin. See there, now in towards turn 3. Viper's working overtime here. Through towards turn 3. Trying to make sure you have the grip there. Now, of course, the drivers do have to make their mandatory pit stop. So if you're wondering what the orange card is with the 1 next to it, it means that's how many stops they have to make in this race. It'll go green once they've made their pit stops. That's how we can keep track of who has and has not made their mandatory pit stop in this race. They have to take fuel in that pit stop. That is a mandatory scenario. In terms of tyres though, they can decide to use 1 set of tyres, but it's at their own discretion. We have got someone into the pits then, Silver Pyramid. Now this will be outside of the pit window. So the Estonian stops. And is that a new set of tyres on the car? I'm not sure, but whatever this is outside of the pit window, so this will not count as his mandatory stop. Meanwhile then, we're going side by side. It's Corkery and Rissar. Rissar just about holding on to the position now in that Pankzilla Racing bright pink Nissan. The 690 making his way through in towards turn 6 there. You've got Corkery here trying to find a way past Coleman Corkery. Over the crest we go, in towards turn 7. Now making our way in towards the corkscrew. You can see that a different line being taken by Corkery to try and take advantage of the exit of the corner. Wider entrance in towards turn 9 to try and focus on the run in towards turn 10. He has got a good run, but can't quite find the inside line. You saw there, Rissar saw it coming and took the corner early. Now in towards final corner. making sure he can get the power down in the toe. You can't see a thing, just about see a flashing light. Even the bright pink Nissan doesn't help with visibility out there. But Corkery in the lone Aston Martin out there looking for a move down the inside. No, he has to back out of that one. And now the pit window is open. So the number 23 car of Pyramids then pitted outside of the window. So whether he's got damage out there, that may be a cause why he's in the pit lane this early on. And he's been there for a long, long time as well. So that tells me that it's damage more than anything else out there. But at the moment then, pit window is open. So all eyes on that pit lane to see who will be making the first visit to the pit lane. We've got Seca, who I think has now gone a lap down in this race. But that's by a Dan Ginchard, who is in sparkling form right now. There's Coleman Corkery then. 8th place so far in the IRE Racing Aston Martin. Making his way now in towards the corkscrew. His next target then is Yacinas. You just saw him there make his way through the corkscrew in the PC Boys Racing Mercedes. Will be his next target. He's 4.3 seconds up the road. Who will be the first to blink then in this pit stop? We've got Seca, who's come into the pits then. We've got the number 69 car, so Yacinas making his way into the pits then. So lots of cars coming in during this pit window now. So that's going to promote Corkery up into 7th place for now. And of course, Corkery has to make a pit stop at some point in this race. Of course, he has to make it within this pit stop window, which only has around 8 minutes left on the clock. And unfortunately, I've just been told, just been informed, that Pyramids has retired. Well, he's had a stutter issue in the background, and that's what caused his crash. So whether we'll see him rejoin onto the circuit or not will be a bit of a question. But at the moment, it's in for damages. So not quite the reason I thought, but damage was the reason in the end. So I'm taking that as a victory for me. Legreston then in the AF Corsa Ferrari, the number 52 car, currently trying to find the grip out there. There's Vishal Patel making his way out of the pit lane then. So he's made his mandatory stop. So too as Yacinas ahead. And Dan Ginchard then starts yet another lap in the lead of this race as he makes his way now down towards the Andretti hairpin. Trying to find the grip out there. He's been finding it plenty out there, really, hasn't he? 14.5 seconds ahead of Jan Nicholas Erbrich. Then we've got a spinner going in towards turn 6. In fact, on the exit of turn 6. And we've got a spinner right in front of us there in Tom McEwing, who's found himself around on the exit of turn 3. That looks like to me it would have been onto the curb, and the car just doesn't have the grip to keep it held on there. Struggling in these conditions is Tom McEwing, and I'm not surprised. These are absolutely atrocious conditions. But one driver who's finding and having the time of their life here is Dan Ginchard, 14.8 seconds in the lead so far in this race. Jan Nicholas Erbrich in 2nd place. Luke Whitehead with that 5-second penalty still will hold on to his 3rd place if it were to finish like this. Peter Dombre in 4th place, 10 seconds off the podium so far. JP Sleater 5th place. Coleman Corkery currently in 6th. Rainer Rissar in 7th. Marcus Littlewood in 8th place at the moment, but he is in the pit lane right now, so he's taking an early stop, maybe trying a little bit of an undercut here as he makes his way through the pit lane. We've got 6 minutes of the pit window still left open, and we still have the top 7 plus Tom McEwing to pit in this race. So Littlewood then has completed his stop. He will rejoin the track then. And there you can see Dan Ginchard is going to put a lap on the number 1 car of Marcus Littlewood, going through in towards the Andretti hairpin. But once Ginchard comes into the pit lane, you would think that Littlewood would take that lap back. But at the moment, that just shows you here how long the pit stop will be. So you've got to really pick your moment. Dan Ginchard then still very comfortable at the head of the field then. There he goes all the way through. And then in towards the left-hander of turn 5. We head up the hill then. And Marcus Littlewood has come back to the pits. He did leave the pit lane. We saw him leave the pit lane. We saw him go through the pit exit, but now he's back into the pits. Jan-Niklas Erbrich then has completed his stop and now makes his way out onto track then. So he has just been passed by Rainer Rassar, who is yet to make his stop in this race. So no sweat for Erbrich there. But Erbrich will be flashing the lights there. Just letting Rassar know it won't be for position. These two are on different strategies. They'll pit at different times in this race. So the top 5 are the only drivers left to stop in this race. That's Dan Ginchard, Luke Whitehead, Peter Dornbray, JP Slater and Rainer Rassar, who we're seeing there in that bright pink Nissan. Jan-Niklas Erbrich is the leader of those that have made their mandatory stops. With just over 4 minutes left of the pit window left. We've got just under 20 minutes of this race to go. Luke Whitehead then comes into the pit lane to serve his mandatory stop from second place in this race. Of course, qualified in 3rd as he now makes his way into the pit lane there. We've still got Marcus Littlewood in the pits. That's not a good sign here for Marcus Littlewood, our pole sitter. And it does look like that Pierre Metz has dropped out of this race. So that is unfortunate to see the retirement of Silver Pierre Metz. So Peter Thornbury then will go now up into second place, but he's got JP Slater all over the back of him here. Belgian in the SRG Ferrari has the Irishman of JP Slater for company here as we now make our way on through turn 4. We know JP Slater has got some pace here, but we know that Peter Thornbury here has just run and kept on running with very, very few mistakes we've seen. JP Slater still on the back of Dornbury there as we make our way now, riding aboard the bumper as we head up the hill towards turn 6. You can see that Ferrari just gets very close in each and every braking zone. And in these treacherous conditions, it's almost too late if you've left your braking late to find it out. But there is Dan Ginchard, who's now made his way into the pit lane. From the lead of this race, he was half a minute ahead of Peter Dornbray the moment he came into the pits. Meanwhile, then Dornbray and Slater are battling then through turn 9. Onwards they go then towards turn 10. And Dornbray just about holds on to second place then. And do they come into the pits? Yeah, they're both coming into the pits then. Serve their mandatory stop. So it's just Rainer Rassar left to stop. Oh, we've got a spinner. JP Slater spun it up in the pit lane. He's been a bit too aggressive with that right foot. And now has to do a 3-point turn. Well, I've never seen someone spin it in the pit lane before. But in these treacherous conditions, that's easier than you think. And look at that lead, that gap he had over Rainer Rassar. There it is. Scythe down to the spinner there. Peter Dornbury then, just as Slater comes in to actually stop at his box, Dornbury has now left his pit box and left the pit lane. Now going in towards and rejoining at the exit of the Andretti hairpin. He rejoins in 4th place. So there is Dan Ginchard, 18-second lead over Jan-Niklas Erbrich here, with 16 minutes still on the clock. I have to say though, Dan Ginchard looks like he's cruising at the moment. He is absolutely loving this one as he makes his way now through the corkscrew and then on towards turn 9. Got the back marker there, pulling over to the right hand side to give him the room. That looks like the number 20 there of Abaya. That's Kirsten Abaya. So that is now 11th place. Has now been put a lap on by Dan Ginchard. So JP Slater after that pit stop has rejoined in 9th place and once again has to fight his way back through the field. But he is on the back of Vishal Patel, just heading in towards turn 5 now. There is Rainer Rassar, who has rejoined ahead of JP Slater. So Slater would have probably had to repair some damage. We did see him drive into the pit wall there. So there would have been a bit of maybe front end repair needed there on the PC Boys Esports Ferrari. So he has rejoined in 9th place and behind Vishal Patel as we now head our way in towards the corkscrew once again. It's just not been Sleater's day, really, has it? He's gone into so many good positions and the rain just does not seem to be on his side. Pit window is closed and all drivers have served their mandatory pit stop. So the race will carry on. So then, as we head our way now in towards the final 15 minutes of this race, it's Dan Ginchard who leads. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich in 2nd place. Luke Whitehead in 3rd. Peter Dombre in 4th place. We've got Coleman Corkery in 5th place. Cornelius Yassianus in 6th place. Rainer Rissar in 7th. With Vishal Patel in 8th. JP Slater in 9th. And Christopher Legreston rounds off the top 10. There is Luke Whitehead there. 1.9 seconds behind Jan-Nicolas Erbrich here. And that is right behind Luke Whitehead. That's Marcus Littlewood right there. And unfortunately, according to the timing screens, he will be 2 laps down once they cross the line again. Or is he 3 laps down? Could be 3 laps down, actually. A really, really unfortunate day for Marcus Littlewood, but it's still great to see him in this race. He's going to finish what he started at the very least. Making our way now towards that start-finish line. But Dan Ginchard still leads the way once Erbrich crosses the line, yet nearly 20 seconds now. The PC Boys Mercedes is leading as he now makes his way in through the right-hander of turn 4. The number 89 car has had a moment on the exit of turn 6, I think that was. And that was Tom McEwing. So that now opens up a battle between Afon Seca and Tom McEwing, now going in towards the corkscrew. Portuguese driver wants to try and get his way up the field. And with a spinner like Tom McEwing falling into his clutches, a battle for 12th place will carry on. Luke Whitehead sizing that gap between himself and Jan-Nicolas Erbrich now to within 1 second. Peter Dombre still in 4th place. A bit of a lonely race for him at the moment. He's 13 seconds behind Luke Whitehead, but he's around about 12 seconds ahead of Coleman Corkery. So a bit of a race of his own at the moment for the Belgian, but he's putting in a solid performance. Erbrich there in 2nd, Luke Whitehead in 3rd, and Marcus Littlewood, who is in 14th place, but he's got front row tickets, front row seats for this battle for 2nd place between Erbrich and Whitehead. Erbrich, meanwhile, looks like he's going to be under pressure then going in towards turn 11. Luke Whitehead wants to move down the inside, but Erbrich does enough to defend that position for now. What about the exit of turn 11? They are going to run side by side as they make their way over the line, but Luke Whitehead looks like he's got his nose ahead. Looks like he's got the position too as we make our way down in towards the Andretti hairpin, and he does. Luke Whitehead now moving up into 2nd place. Erbrich now falling down to 3rd. So Whitehead now moves back up into 2nd place, but he's got more than 20 seconds to find. That's his only problem. He's got 20 seconds to find against Dan Ginchard, who is in not only clear air, but he looks like he's having fun out there. And when you get into your rhythm and you're enjoying yourself out there, it is very, very difficult to catch you, as Dan Ginchard is showing us. There he is now making his way through the corkscrew with just over 11 minutes of this race to go. And, well, look at that. His last lap time was a 34.5. His best lap time has been a 35.4. He has been so consistent in this race. Traffic, no traffic. He just seems to be so comfortable out there in these conditions. The only thing that could best him here is complacency. And I don't think he's going to let that get to him, considering the fact that he did finish 2nd at the Barcelona series, or the Barcelona round of the Rainmaster. This time around, he may have got the pole position. He doesn't want the 2nd place this time around. So Jan-Nicolas Erbrich is in 3rd place. Marcus Littlewood is behind him, but that's not for position. And I have a feeling here Erbrich will just let Littlewood go because he doesn't want to cause himself some issues here later in this race. As he makes his way over the crest, as a race driver, you never want to let anybody through, but Marcus Littlewood, you're not racing him. through in towards the Andretti hairpin. But Urbrick wants third place. He may know that he's not battling Littlewood there, but as a driver, if you see a car behind you, you're not letting them through unless there's blue flags being waved your way. So to go through the order once again, it's Dan Gitchard leading the way by a healthy 22 seconds. Luke Whitehead is in second place. Jan-Nicolas Urbrick, we just saw there, in third place. Peter Dombre is in fourth place. A bit of a lonely race for him at this moment in time. It's Coleman Corkery in fifth. Cornelius Yassianis in sixth place then. Rainer Rissar in seventh. It's JP Slater in eighth. Vishal Patel in ninth. And Christopher Legreston rounding off the top 10. It's Kirsten Evea in 11th place. Tom McEwing in 12th. Jorge Afonseca in 13th place. Marcus Littlewood in 14th. Although he did have an issue that caused him to come back to the pit lane at some point in this race. We're not sure why, but one could only assume for damage. And only one retirement in this race, Silver Piermitz, who crashed out when his game started stuttering, unfortunately, and decided to call it a day in the pit lane just before, about 5 minutes before the pit window opened. That's our only retirement of this race so far. There is Coleman Corkery, though. And if Peter Dombre has a race of his own, then that's not enough to describe the race that Coleman Corkery is having right now. We're going side by side, going in towards the Andretti hairpin, but this isn't for position. That's Marcus Littlewood going up the inside there. And yeah, Jan-Nicolas Urbrick flashing his lights there, but I think Littlewood was ahead. If he's a lap down, just let him go. Urbrick then will be in third place and have a bit of damage to the front of that car. He won't be very appreciative of that. But the gap between himself and Dombre there. And JP Slater has just gone up the inside of a car there. That's for 7th place. So he has passed Yassiadis for position, but Yassiadis is not going to let that go. He's going to go round the outside at turn 1. Slater has the inside line through turn 1, now going in towards the Andretti hairpin. Is there a way back through then for Yassianis? He'll certainly try. Cornelius Yassianis running side by side with JP Slater as we now make our way in towards turn 3. Slater just does enough then to hang on to 7th place. Yassianis, meanwhile, will put all that pressure on. Through turn 4 we go. And onwards towards turn 5. So Slater's got the position for now. He's now 2.2 seconds behind Rainer Rissar. And that'll be for 6th place. There you can see that bright pink Nissan there. You're not missing that by much, are you? But even in these treacherous conditions, it's still difficult to make out this neon pink Nissan. So JP Slater starting to just build that gap to Cornelius Yassianis as we now make our way on towards the corkscrew. So this will really become the battle for 6th place. I can't see Yassianis dropping away too much. And once Slater and Rissar start battling, Yassianis will see his chance to try and latch on and get past the battle for 6th place. As he now makes his way on towards turn 10. We've got less than 7 minutes to go. And for the first time in this race, Luke Whitehead has cut down the gap between himself and Dan Gitchard. It's taken about 34 minutes for that to happen. But that just shows you Dan Gitchard is just on the pace all the way through. Just having to see to spot him out there. Was there any traffic? I don't think there was any traffic on that last lap for him. But there you can see that's a Ferrari getting out of the way. I think that was Legreston moving out of the way there. As Luke Whitehead puts a lap on the number 52 car. Running in 2nd place at this moment in time. As he makes his way now in towards turn 10. Onwards towards turn 11. Slowing the car down there. Oh, he's run a little bit deep then in towards the final corner. And that may not be for position, but Legreston will want to put on a bit of a show here. As we now make our way over the crest then through turn 1. And there you can see Legreston's battling for this unlap as Marcus Littlewood comes into the pit lane then. And Luke Whitehead will want to get back past, and this is costing him time. I mean, he couldn't afford to lose any time before. Losing time now will not be very, very good at all for him as Marcus Littlewood has come back into the pit lane then. Luke Whitehead trying to find a way past. There is Littlewood then. The lights are off. I don't think anybody's home anymore for Littlewood. But Luke Whitehead does get away past. I think Legreston's had enough fun there. As he gets slightly onto the gravel there on the exit of turn 5. He's had enough fun with Luke Whitehead there. And has now decided to let him go. But that will cost Luke Whitehead a lot of time. I'd be surprised to see that gap now up to 25, 26 seconds. Yes, 23.4 at that last sector. Less than 5 minutes to go then. And there is your race leader, Dan Ginchard, who's coming up to Tom McEwing here. Over the crest in through turn 1. And then down in towards the Andretti hairpin. He'll be flashing his lights very soon to warn Tom McEwing that he's coming through. Heading away through turn 3. There you go. The lights are flashing, letting McEwing know that he's there. And McEwing, does he move over? Yes, he does. And lets Dan Ginchard through. In through turn 4 we go. And I mean, can you really understate how dominant this performance has been from Dan Ginchard? He's turned up. He's just put in consistent lap after consistent lap. He's made, as far as we can see, 0 errors throughout this race. And it shows. 23.3 second lead now between himself and Luke Whitehead. It looks like he's only around 3.5 minutes away from becoming the Rainmaster here in the second running at Laguna Seca. Of course, Luke Whitehead was our defending Rainmaster after Barcelona. He beat Dan Ginchard by 12 seconds a month ago. But it looks like Dan Ginchard may have lost out in February, but he marches on. A little bit onto the gravel there on the exit of turn 10. But to be honest with you, if that's the biggest mistake he's made in this race so far, I mean, I absolutely have that. And that's someone off into the wall there. That was Vishal Patel, who moves well over to the wall there as he now makes his way across the line. Well, I know he's getting well out of the way of his teammate there. That seemed a little bit over the top. Just making sure he doesn't make contact, that's for sure. 2.5 minutes left in this race then to go, with Dan Ginchard leading the way. Luke Whitehead is in 2nd place. Jan-Nicolas Erbrich is in 3rd. Peter Dombre in 4th. Coleman Corkery in 5th place. JP Sleater in 6th. Cornelius Yacinas in 7th. Rainer Rissal in 8th. Vishal Patel in 9th. Christopher Legreston rounding off the top 10. Kirsten Abea in 11th place. Tom McEwing in 12th. Jorge Afonseca in 13th place. And Marcus Littlewood still in the pit lane then. Pole position for this race. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he's going to rejoin the race for the remainder. So looking at the timing screens then, next time by should be the final lap of this race. We'll have to wait and see though as he now makes his way through turn 9. You never know. Through turn 9 we go. The number 89 car's at a moment at the corkscrew. That's Tom McEwing. And he hasn't lost a position, but that'll be a swap of the back end on the exit of the corkscrew there, where the lateral forces go through the car. Then car's not having it. Final 90 seconds of this race then, as Dan Ginchard comes across the line. In what will be the final lap of this race. He could put cruise control on, couldn't he, really, as that's Legreston jumping out of the way of Jan-Nicolas Erbrich there. Getting very close to that gravel, though. As Erbrich now moves past the back marker. Onwards towards the final corner goes Jan-Nicolas Erbrich. Well, he finished 3rd place at the Rainmaster in Barcelona. It looks like he's on course to finish 3rd place here at Laguna Seca. Talk about Mr. Consistent. Consistency has been the order of the day for Dan Ginchard as well. He has been he's been absolutely brilliant all day. Through practice, through qualifying, through the race. Pole position by 0.06 of a second. It's back-to-back pole positions here in this Rainmaster series as he takes us through then the corkscrew for the final time. As we now make our way onwards then through turn 9. Then in towards turn 10. And for the PC boys here, that Mercedes and that driver have looked absolutely untouchable all race long. Dan Ginchard then makes his way through the final corner and onwards to take the checkered flag here at Laguna Seca. Dan Ginchard is your new Rainmaster here at World Pro Racing and takes the crown off of Luke Whitehead. Thoroughly deserved there for Dan Ginchard. Luke Whitehead then makes his way through the final corner and onwards towards that start-finish line. He will pick up second place in this race. Results reversed as Luke Whitehead takes second place here, this time out at the Rainmaster. Jan-Niklas Erbrich then, back-to-back podiums in the Rainmaster series as he takes third place across the line. A consistent performance from Erbrich all race long, and it's good enough for that last spot on the podium. But Dan Ginchard has shown us here he is the Rainmaster this time around at World Pro Racing. What a performance. Dominating. 22.2 second lead at the end of the day. He will be absolutely thrilled with that one. Peter Dombre rounds off in fourth place then. Impressive drive for him. It may have been a race of his own in the end, but he still had a good drive out there. Coleman Corkery crosses the line then. He finishes in fifth place. JP Sleater then will come across the line. He will finish the race in sixth. Cornelius Yassianus will cross the line in seventh place, and Rainer Rassar, the last of those to finish on the lead lap, will finish in eighth place. But there is Dan Ginchard then taking us back into the pit lane. Your new World Pro Racing Rainmaster. What a fantastic performance there from him. It was a fantastic performance from him and a great drive from everybody out there. Wonderful stuff to see. It is tough to make sure you are pretty much on the pace all the way through a rain race. And obviously for Dan Ginchard, he has been absolutely tremendous today. Really has. Didn't really put a foot wrong. Yes, a tyre in the gravel there or thereabouts. And really, at the end of the day, he did everything he needed to do. Just outright pace was absolutely brilliant. And yeah, he is your new World Pro Racing Rainmaster. With Luke Whitehead finishing in second place, he can't hold on to his crown this time around, but I'm sure there'll be a third running, and I'm sure there'll be a battle between the two of them once again. We do have our we do have drivers coming in. We'll see if we can have a chat with them in just a couple of minutes' time. In the meantime, though, we did have a couple of performances of note out there. We had our pole position sitter in Marcus Littlewood for the Omega E Racing team. Had that little bit of an incident at the first turn, and that really summed up his race there from there on in. And, you know, he had that incident, couldn't really recover from it in the end. He did make his pit stop and then quickly returned to the pit stop after that. Didn't take the checkered flag in that race. But we have, I believe, got our top three with us now. We'll start, first of all, with our new Rainmaster at Laguna Seca, Dan Ginchard. Dan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Dan, dominant would be an understatement. 22 seconds at the end there. You grabbed pole position by 0.06 of a second. Just talk us through there. I mean, you made that look easy. How treacherous was it out there?
Oh, it felt wetter than Barcelona, to be honest. You know, the conditions were terrible, but I think they suited me quite a lot. I think I'm pretty fast in the rain on ACC. I jumped into practice maybe an hour before the race after doing nothing, you know, not really expecting anything, you know, just do it for a bit of fun. And, you know, I was still quite slow in practice, and then in qualifying, everything kind of really went together. And then obviously in the race, I just got the start, and I got pole position, got a really good start. I think I nailed the start pretty much. Yeah, and then from there, I was just kind of biding my time. You know, Luke was on me for a lot of it at the start of the race. I saw he got a penalty, which is quite unfortunate. I'm not really sure what happened there. But yeah, I just kept my head. I just kept calm, didn't drive off the track, you know, nailed the pit stop, didn't get any penalties. And yeah, it was quite a smooth race, to be honest. I want to thank PC Boys and Dan Ackett Designs. You know, they're really helping me at the moment. And yeah, we'll see how we do in the next race.
Yeah, and let's talk about the last time out as well, because you finished second there, so you haven't finished off the podium in a Rainmaster yet. What was the difference between Barcelona and here at Laguna Seca?
I think in Barcelona, my speed was really great. I think I pulled it again there. But I didn't really, we were still not new to the game, but we were quite new to the whole idea of pit stops. So I didn't really get that right. And I don't think my pace was as strong as it is here. And I think everything really fell into place this race more than it did in Barcelona.
Yeah, and of course, when it came to that pit stop then, especially after it, you had a 20-second lead at that point. You were building on that lead time after time. How do you guard against that complacency, being that far ahead, especially in those treacherous conditions?
Well, I still kind of set myself a target time that I was aiming towards, but I've kind of made sure that I wasn't going to hit any rumble strips or anything that could spin me round. You know, I was still kind of keeping my head in the game, trying to aim for this lap time, and it really paid off.
It really paid off. You were within tenths of a second at most parts of that race for that target time. Well, Dan, the floor is yours for any shout-outs and anyone you'd like to shout out.
Yeah, shout out to PC Boys, shout out to Danakit Designs, shout out to my parents. You know, they're always supporting me in my real life racing and obviously at the moment my sim racing. And, you know, I won here in Laguna Seca in GT4 in WPR. So I think Laguna Seca is quite a good track for me. So hopefully there'll be more races here.
Well, thank you, Dan. Congratulations on being the new Rainmaster here at World Pro Racing. Go and enjoy yourself and have a lovely evening celebrating. We'll come to second place driver in the race, Luke Whitehead. Luke, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
Luke, unable to defend the crown this time around. I mean, talk us through that start because we want to hear what happened from your point of view.
Well, to be honest, it all happened really quickly, and I've just watched the replay, so I have more of an understanding of actually what happened, you know, as opposed to being in the car, because you don't see very much. So I've tried following Dan through. You know, I've got a pretty good start somehow. I'm not really sure how, but I've kept it on the inside, and I've sort of been squeezed. I think Marcus came across to defend. I kept up the inside, you know, giving him as much room as possible, and I think when I looked on the replay, he actually lost the rear end going into the corner and then clipped me as I came back on. So I don't, you know, I think it kind of was unfortunate what happened, to be honest. I think we both could have done a little bit more to avoid what happened. I think, you know, I could have maybe been a bit more careful coming onto the track. I think he could have given a little bit more room. So I'm afraid it's just one of those, which was a bit unfortunate, to be honest. I saw he was quite fast as well, so it would have been nice to have another battle with someone else. But yeah, second place, I'm pretty happy all round. Yeah, just a bit unfortunate about the start.
And we saw there Dangan through that race, just so consistently opening up the gap. What was the difference between Barcelona, where you won, and Laguna Seca, where you finished that runner-up spot?
Well, I had a lot less preparation for this race. I've been trying to qualify for, you know, a selection of other events that have been on at the moment. I've been doing a lot of GT4 driving lately, in the dry at Alton, which is probably the most different track you could go to compared to Laguna, especially when it's dry. And obviously GT4 is a whole different ball game. So I think that, and a mixture with the fact that I only decided to enter about an hour before the race, because obviously I wasn't sure what my plans were tonight in terms of qualifying and everything like that. So yeah, a lot less preparation. I basically just slapped on a setup from some random track in the Ferrari. It was the only setup I really had, and unfortunately it didn't really work around that track. And also, you know, Dan, I've got to give credit where credit's due. He was really fast today. His consistency was really good, and I made mistakes and he didn't. And I think that really showed. So well done to him. He thoroughly deserves the victory, to be honest. But yeah, happy all round, to be honest. To, you know, finish where I did without any preparation on a setup which doesn't really work around that track and in the flooded conditions. Because I actually think it was only for damp conditions, that setup. So really completely different. But yeah, I'm not too unhappy, to be honest.
Well, that's great to hear. Luke, the floor is yours for any shout-outs, any sponsors you'd like to thank.
Well, as always, I'd like to thank H3 Racing for, you know, letting me run with them. You know, it's always awesome week in, week out, and day in, day out to be testing with those guys, qualifying with those guys in big events, and, you know, working with them. You know, I'm learning a huge amount with them. Ashton Cox as well for his awesome setups. You know, we've as I said, we've been qualifying for other events, and his setup for those have been awesome. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to do one for this event. But yeah, thanks to those guys. Thanks to my manager, Robert Watherston, as always. He's been really helpful as of late with all the events and qualifiers that have been going on, keeping me alerted with those. Thanks to my parents as well for watching as always and supporting me. And thanks to everyone else who tuned in. Hopefully the race was entertaining as it was from my perspective.
Well, what we could see of it through that rain, yes, definitely. Well, congratulations on second place, Luke. Go and celebrate. Thank you for joining us.
No worries,
We've also got third place driver in Jan Nicholas Erbrick. Jan Nicholas, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Jan, another third place in this Rainmaster. You're making light work of these podiums recently. How does that feel?
It feels good. From pace-wise, I think fourth would have been possible today, but yeah, the guys in front always crash, so it's good for me. Yeah, it was a nice race.
Yeah, when it came to practice and qualifying, the gap between yourself and the top three didn't look encouraging. So how do you get into that mindset of driving 40 minutes in these treacherous conditions?
I just say myself that it's because of the Lexus. Yeah, I know they are so fast in the wet. I don't know what they do, but I think they go for more risk than I do, especially when you see the first laps of Luke, where he had some problems. But yeah, I don't know how to get so fast like them, but my pace was good. I was hitting the same lap times over and over. Was a safe driving. Yeah, I had no problems in the race. Well, it was good. For me, it was a good race.
Yeah, and it especially after the pit stop there, it looked like quite a lonely race for yourself. There wasn't a lot to do apart from getting past the lapped car. So how do you go against complacency and just making sure you stay on top of your mistakes?
I was just having fun this race, so was not paying too much attention. Was just having fun driving the car in the wet conditions. You don't do that often. Yeah, so just driving.
Well, yeah, as well as that, back-to-back third places in this Rainmaster. Yeah. Is there a second place on the way, maybe, or are you happy with third?
If next time also Luke crashes in the first corner, maybe.
Well, you heard it here first. We'll see what happens at the third round of the Rainmaster. But yeah, Nicholas, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. The floor is yours for any shout-outs, any sponsors you'd like to mention.
Yeah, first of all, shout-outs to the YouTube chat I'm currently seeing. And yeah, special shout-out to my friend Jonas, which is he's a nice guy. Yeah, special shout-outs to him.
Well, yeah, Nicholas, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Enjoy your third place and enjoy the rest of your night. Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
And that will then do it then for us here at the World Pro Racing Rain Series. If you want more racing action, well, I've got good news for you. The USF 2000 Championship starts tomorrow, wherever you're watching, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch, ESTV, Motorsport TV, and TVM Sport. You can watch it on all of those and get the coverage from our commentary team in Alex Goldschmidt and Chris Buxton. Remember, tomorrow. Plus, we've got karting at Genk on Friday night, so make sure you join us for that one if you fancy something different. On there, we're trying out some karting, seeing if it works and seeing how the drivers can cope with those machines there. Lots of grip, lots of speed, but not much room for error, especially in karting. We'll see how it goes. Again, a big thank you to all of our sponsors, AMD, HyperX, GT Omega, Thrustmaster, Melita, Gaming Malta, and VisitMalta.com. A huge thank you to everyone behind the scenes, our race director in Adrian Figallo and our chief steward in George Muscat. We've also got Justin Mifsud and Nathan Mifsud behind the cameras as well, so big thank you to them. Well, we hope you've enjoyed tonight's broadcast tonight. As always, hopefully you will have enjoyed this very much wet weather. Luckily, we're all dry. The drivers are soaking wet. Let's leave them to dry off. In the meantime, though, thank you very much for watching. I've been Kieran McGinley. You have been watching. Take care of yourselves, and we will see you next time. Good night.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.
Senna was a god. No one could even dream to follow him.
I'm from a very humble background.
The role of women at that time were really difficult.
It's just so dangerous. You're risking not only your life, but also my life.
World Pro Racing, where sim racing becomes real.